Frank. What's the weirdest thing you've ever saw in here?
Let me ask you a question, kid. Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
Hey, we gonna party tonight or what?
Yeah, we are gonna party.
Well, where are we gonna party?
I don't know, somewhere.
Hey, we could go to the park.
Oh, no, we can't. The cops said they'd shoot us if we go back to the park.
Yeah, and I ain't in no mood to go tonight.
I like death.
Greeting, ghouls, and welcome to minute 78 of Do You Want to Party? The Movies by Minute podcast for the 1985 groundbreaking horror classic, The Return of the Living Dead. I'm your host, Troy, and for this particular episode, I'm being joined again by the dynamic duo team of...
Hello, this is Ahmed.
And Natasha.
Hey, kids, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you for having us.
Just to point this out, we are, like I said, 78 of 91 minutes, so we are approaching the end. I just want to get this out of the front at the very beginning. I want to thank you guys for all that you've contributed to this particular show and all that sort of thing, plus stuff outside of the show and whatnot. But I've really appreciated the two of you coming in whenever I needed an extra set of voices to join in. That I was always able to rely on you guys, as well as a couple of my other returning guest hosts as well. But before we get any further, thank you guys.
No worries.
That's sweet of you. Our pleasure.
No problem. All right, so we're going to start off. This particular minute is going to be Frank crawling inside, and it's going to end with an eye in the sky. With a Dutch angle for added spice, the reanimated corpse of the loyal UNITA worker Frank lifts himself onto the pull-out tray of the ignited crematorium oven before him. The orange glow of the flames dancing against him as he, teary-eyed, places his left knee upon it. Using that as a pivot point, he leans his upper body forward, his hands just within the opening. He gives out a restrained cry as the heat source, unseen from this angle, painfully makes its presence known to him. Now with both knees on the metal surface, Frank shuffles himself around until his upper body hangs outside the flesh-incinerating device. He cries out more in protest at the situation, now looking at his legs, and placing his palms on opposite sides of the oven's mouth, pushes himself and the tray into the inferno behind him. As a plume of smoke shoots out underneath, signaling the duty of the device doing its job, Frank disappears completely, briefly as the tray locks into its full position, and an increase of gray-white smoke belches forward. But before the entrance is completely obstructed, Frank's hand reaches out at the switch that controls the sliding door of the oven. Once the heavy grinding sound signals it's dropping, Frank's hand retreats inside. Slowly the room fills with more and more of the smoke. The only sound is the slowly grinding noise of the descending heavy door, which comes to a heavy clanging halt. The view of the frosted glass windows of the doors of the brightly lit from within by the fire, the silence of the room pierced by the sudden howling of poor Frank, as his current form of existence begins to burn painfully. His bellow is long and drawn out as it fades to quiet. A second, more weak and distant sound echoes after it, only to end in a whisper, leaving only the sound, that of the oven, as the gas-fueled flames continue to burn brightly. Meanwhile, outside the Resurrection Funeral Home, a helicopter with its searchlights on cruises over the scene. The sound of the whirling blades mixed with the sirens of the ground units wash over the situation. Below, a row of several police cars, lights and sirens activated, drive through the slightly foggy roadway between trees. 5 in total can be seen before the frontmost vehicle approaches a fellow officer standing in its path. The lone officer swaying a signal light in his hand in a known motion to signal to inform the approaching cars to halt. As the most front driver brings his vehicle to a slight screeching halt, he briefly looks to the side. Him and his partner's outlines highlighted by flashing lights of the cop cars behind him. And a quick shot of the solo officer still waving the red-tipped signal light, his gray skin reflecting the flashing black back and forth red and blue lights. A slight jump back reveals the back wall of the Resurrection Funeral Home, more precisely the embalming room. At the base of the slight incline to get to the building, as just inside the rear parking area, stands the lone policeman, hand still mechanically moving the light in his hand. There's a click as the driver's door begins to open, and as the driver is stepping out, a female voice cries out for gray matter. Now the cavalcade of police cars is swarmed by the undead. A second voice follows the group's intentions. Even the forwardmost creature that set the trap dashes forward to take part in the newly arrived buffet. Impossibly overwhelmed, the living are overtaken by the dead. Above in the sky, the observing chopper relays a message to its headquarters.
Ground, this is Air 3. We've got a bad situation here. We've got officers down. We have just witnessed ground units attack. Repeat, attack.
While several ghouls standing around consuming their newly acquired meals, the spotlight of the air vehicle flowing over them from another window. Bright orange light from a trio of burning cars follow in. Bert, Chuck, Casey, and Spider acknowledge the change of the situation outside. The lot of the group calls out the type of police vehicle.
Helicopter!
They all look upward to witness the chopper as a voice booms out over its loudspeaker.
Attention, attention. This is the police. This area is under police blockade. All persons within this area wishing to surrender.
Its message relaying the situation to those below. However, before it is done with its instructions, that is where we end our minute. So there we go. We got a little bit of more zombie attack motions and all that sort of thing.
Got a crowd attack.
Again, the zombies showing their use of intelligence and all that sort of thing, which is kind of nice to see as well. Again, something that is very pretty much general to this movie and the way they portray their creatures. So I'm just gonna put that down there.
One of the interesting parts here is when he's pushing himself into the crematorium.
Yeah.
And he's like got his hands on the sides of the walls.
Yeah.
Like you would think perhaps that part would have hurt.
Oh yeah, no. Yep. Yeah, no, I mean there is a lot. I mean, we did see just the previous and like the basically tail end of the previous minute when he actually grabs the actual metal. He actually gives out a yell because of the heat of the metal already heated and all that sort of thing as he pulls it out. And obviously you're fully aware that there's no actual fire there.
No.
It's just a light from inside the source. You don't actually see any flame and all that sort of thing. So it's all nice trickery and all that.
There you go. It's the slow roast, easy bake.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's again, we're playing with lights and shadow for this movie and all that sort of thing. I mean, they take full advantage of the fact that again, you don't have a huge budget. And again, the only time you see flames in the oven are the interior shots of where it actually is a flame and there's no one near it and all that sort of thing, which is kind of neat to see.
For me, it was more of like the wail, like of him screaming. I can never hear like a sound like that and not
Hmm.
picture like someone like holding their headphones like in a sound booth, like making those noises.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
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 like no
yeah.
matter what movie it is, like
Hmm.
that's so for me, that's what I was picturing. Like as they were like panning away from the door, I'm like trying to picture like what does it look like this person making those sounds?
That's true. That's true. Because he obviously he's not on the set doing that
Yeah,
thing and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because
but
that's just the yeah.
even normally, don't they like they probably like what do you call it? Like when they do like those sound things. Sorry, I'm so out of it today. Um, when they do the cutaways, it's
Hmm.
or even if they're doing like a shot with someone screaming, do they
Right.
usually use that like with the mic, or
Depends
do
on
they
how
have
well they capture. Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends on how well they capture on
Depends.
set
yeah,
sounds and all that sort of thing. But they might have to go to do a
hmm like an after
um
like edit thing, like
yeah, basically like a re-recording, like
hmm
I'm trying
oh,
to
what
remember
is it
the term.
called?
I'm trying to remember the
ADRs.
terms. Yes, there you go.
ADR.
ADR.
Yes, they might have to ADR. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking the exact thing. Oh, I know the
It's been a
acronym. I know
minute
the
since
three-letter
I've
acronym.
done
Yeah.
ADR, but yeah.
Yeah, it basically would be an ADR, which is something you would go back into a studio to re-record later and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yeah.
that's the word. I had no idea what it was,
Yeah.
but what I meant. Yes, thank you, both of you.
So actually, this actually leads us into our next section, which is over in the commentary track, which again is with writer and director Dan O'Bannon and the production designer William Stout. So, as Frank slides himself into the oven, Dan O'Bannon points out that, quote, um, there's a wonderful death scream by Jimmy Caron, which the producers found too disturbing, and they potted it way down, and it really needs to be brought up here. So what you're hearing now is actually a toned down version of what James Caron actually performed for the final thing, which is kind of neat to
Nice.
have actually Dan O'Bannon point out the fact that, yeah, no, Jimmy did a great, great sound here. It's just unfortunately the producers decided it was too much, so they brought it down and all that sort of thing.
Producers.
Yeah, exactly. So Dan O'Bannon then mentions the helicopter when it shows up. William Stout then questions how he got the shot, and Dan O'Bannon says it was simply they bought it as stock footage. And as the police cars come to a halt, William says how Dan O'Bannon was so highly storyboarded the sequence, which he did with mostly stick figures, and that William Stout then came in and cleaned it up,
Hmm.
and how it was a beautiful form of direction. Only to then point out that Dan O'Bannon's voice is coming from the helicopter, and then Dan O'Bannon said the voice actor didn't show up, and he thought that no one would recognize his voice. Of course, they did. All right. So yeah, so it's again, it's always nice to see when Dan O'Bannon basically points out the really superior work of his actors and all that sort
Yeah.
of thing. All right, so this is according to the script, which we are dealing with a story and screenplay by Dan O'Bannon, and this is a revision from October 1983, based on a story and screenplay by John Russo, Rudy Rickey, and Russell Steiner. So here we go. Interior cemetery, night rain. Beam of the searchlight cuts down through the rain and walks eerily around the cemetery, while from the wet blackness above comes the beating of helicopter blades. In the distance, many sirens. One other thing I should actually point out is, again, like we've mentioned in previous minutes, the actual Frank um, ending his current existence does not actually appear in the original script. It's something that James Caron came to Dan O'Bannon saying, "Hey, well, how about we do it this way?" Because technically James Cameron didn't want to have to go out and do all the sequences out in the rain that were written in the script. So that's why we actually start at the actual cemetery sequence where the creatures storm the police cars. So back to it. Exterior mortuary, rain, night. Six squad cars are convening on the mortuary. Their flashers and sirens going. Up ahead, they see a cop bearing the way. The cop is flagging them down with a red flashlight. The six squad cars converge on the officer in the driveway. and he is one of the dead officers. The door of the squad cars pop open, and 12 cops step out. Corpse cough. This way, beckons. The corpse cops turns and runs into the darkness. Several of the live cops follow him into the shadows. A moment later, come a multiple screams. The cops who remain in their cars pull their guns. Before they can do anything else, 20 corpses run in out of the darkness and grab them. Cut to exterior cemetery wall. Night rain. Frank shambles up the top of the stone wall. It is a great effort. He's barely able to pull himself to the top of the wall. He rolls over and falls 9 feet to the sidewalk. Thud. Quivering, he picks himself up and starts limping across the street. Frank's POV moving Steadicam. Across the street is a phone booth. Frank limps up to the phone booth and grabs the telephone. He digs into his pocket, turns it inside out, and spilling change all over the street. He finds a dime, and with shaking hands, he inserts it into the phone. Ding! He dials 0. Frank into phone. Get me a taxi. Cut to exterior sky above the cemetery, night rain. Aerial shot, circling over the graveyard, seeing what the searchlight, the night sun, sees is a cut down through the rain. Raindrops on chopper bubble, illuminated red and chopper lights, stereophonic beating of helicopter rotors, helicopter cop's voiceover, over filtered. Ground, this is Air 3. We have really got a bad situation here. We've got officers down. We have just witnessed 6 ground units attacked, and overwhelmed by a band of assailants. The spotlight moves over the gravestones and crypts, illuminating wandering, fighting corpses. Cut to interior warehouse, night rain. Bert, Meat, Casey, and Chuck hear a sound of the helicopter approaching. Casey, listen, hear that? Meat, helicopter! The helicopter gets louder. Suddenly, a voice pierces out of the sky, the voice on the helicopter loudspeaker coming through the walls. Casey, listen, listen! Helicopter loudspeaker. Attention, attention! This is the police. This area is under police blockade. All personnel within this area are under arrest. All persons wishing to surrender, and that's where we meet up with the actual movie. So there we go. So we do get to see what continues to happen to Frank and all that sort of thing. So that's going to bring us to our work print comparison, which is what you do is when you finish filming your entire movie, you actually culminate all the footage that you shot, putting it into one giant version, then that's what you use to chop down to get to your final version. For, like I said, the comparison, we are dealing with minute 77 to 78 of the final film, whereas in the work print, we are currently dealing with minute 95:33 to 96:28. So it's a rare occasion where we actually have a little less, but it's only because of the, in the work print comparison, the actual Frank's sequence in the crematorium actually happens earlier in the movie, so that's why it's a little shorter. So also there is no helicopter insert. It just starts with the line of police cars, which is it's just slightly longer, just a little more footage of them driving, as well as the cops being swarmed by the cars as well is just a little longer as well. The overhead shot from the helicopter, there's no voiceover. And inside the warehouse, Chuck and Casey are by the window, and Chuck turns to mention that the rain has started up again. Casey mentions overhearing the sound, and that's when Bert and Spider join. We hear the announcement actually from the helicopter, but but we stay actually on the 4 of them standing at the window, hearing the message, and at the time it is actually being read by Dan O'Bannon off camera. So that's where we basically have that sort of thing and all that. So it's yeah. So it's a really quick sort of thing. We're into sequences that there's we just rapidly are going through them and all that sort of thing as the movie basically comes to a giant conclusion and all that sort of thing. Anything you guys want to add for this particular minute?
No, I mean it's like I said, it's a bunch of things kind of going on at once as things start to kind of explode towards the end of the movie.
Hmm.
But is not like we're not like aside from I guess the important crematorium scene,
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of just everything else is kind of just small bits leading up to what is to come. And so it's not like a minute that you can kind of deep dive into any particular moment aside from the burning. But
yeah,
No deep
exactly.
sleep.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So as this is probably going to be probably one of I might be able to sneak you guys into one final episode and all that, but if this does turn out to be your final episode, what have you enjoyed about the this process, actually, the podcast itself? I mean, I know Ahmed was here from the get-go early and all that, and Natasha joined a little later on and all that sort of thing, but what has been your experience with this sort of thing?
I guess if I had to say something, I mean, typically, like I'm pretty late coming into these movies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which again
Yeah,
is another thing that I appreciate, because I believe you watched it for the first time to join the
I did.
podcast and all
Yeah,
that sort
yeah.
of thing. Which again, very thankful for that. That's
Oh, no
such an
problem.
amazing thing for you've done.
No, no problem. I mean, it was a part of the list anyway. I have a million movies I have to watch, and that was
Yeah.
already
Yep.
one of
Yep.
them. So it wasn't like it was I only watched it for this, but I we chose it on that night because of this podcast or your podcast. Thank you. So but I guess so aside from me just being late to all the movies, so like everything I watch typically is kind of like I wouldn't say me by myself, but like I watch it with you, but we don't really like I don't have anyone to talk about. I'm not like, "Oh my God, have you seen like The Fly?" Like as if
Hmm.
like it just came out, you know? Like everyone's
Right.
like, "Yeah, like I saw it back whenever." Um and then so to have this kind of podcast and to be able to like, talk about things and it's so in depth because every episode is a minute of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's been nice to kind of have that experience where like, you know, watching a movie with some friends and kind of like having that moment together, I guess.
Yeah.
Since a lot of these movies I'm seeing are either with you,
Hmm.
and if you're sleeping, then by myself.
Yeah. How it goes.
Yeah. So that would be one of the things I would say. Do you have anything that you want to say?
Oh, I've done this before, so it's kind of just, it's
Yeah.
always fun to kind of get a little more in depth, but aside from
Revisit.
that, it's fun to just kind of hang out and chat about it.
I also just like this movie had that my special minute.
Yeah, well,
Um, and
Yeah.
that
I'm
I could,
actually kind of I'm glad that your special minute kind of worked out and all that sort of
yeah,
thing. Which is
yeah.
yeah.
Every movie has a special minute for me.
Excellent.
But
Excellent. Well, we'll have to look into maybe the next project to see what sort of special minute you have in there, and we'll
for
see if we can get you
sure,
into that. But
for
we'll talk
sure.
about that in the near future and all that sort of thing. And like I said at the beginning, thank you guys for joining me for this.
Of
Ahmed,
course.
again, been years that we've been talking
yeah,
horror and all that sort of thing. I'm glad you were able to like. You also helped me out briefly in my previous movies by minute, the Welcome to the Slaughtered Lamb,
yeah, yeah.
the one about an American Werewolf in London. So I thank you again for your input on that as well. When I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Ahmed knows about horror movies, so that was fantastic of you. And now to be able to do this. And so again, audience, I'd also like to thank you guys for coming along. We are like we said, we are like getting close to the end. Thank you for being here on this journey. I also want to point out that there's within the year of 2025, there's one final chance for you to get to a convention that is being held this year, December 5th to 7th, Days of the Dead, Indianapolis, Indiana, where you'll be able to meet the entire cast. Again, hopefully in the near future, they'll still be traveling around as a group and all that sort of thing, because that's a friggin' huge attraction to see the cast members and all that. So hopefully, eventually in the near future, they'll be a little closer to home. Maybe I can be able to get a chance to see them all in person, sort of thing. But again, thank you, Ahmed, Natasha, audience. I got nothing else to say, but see you next Wednesday.
You've just been listening to a Planet Geek production of Do You Want to Party? A Movies by Minute podcast of the 1985 The Return of the Living Dead. Please be sure to subscribe, download, comment, share, rate, and review. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, or Letterboxd. Search for Planet Geek Productions. X, former Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, search for Planet Geek Pod. Or send us an email to planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Our closing music is provided by Night Chill. See the show notes for more details. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and farewell, fiends.
Little bit of editing to do for this episode. Here we go.
Well, since you're editing things anyway, whatever.
Yes.
Before we just joined, Ahmed
Mhm.
selected some sort of option that Zoom gave us.
Okay.
For, what do you call it? Like,
Where it tracks your camera.
yeah, and it
Is
keeps
that
like,
what's catching? I was catching it. I was catching in the corner
it's
of my
like
eyes. I'm reading.
it keeps
like,
not
messing
even
me
paying
up.
attention to
You
it,
don't
actually.
see it zooming in and out and like redirecting. Like it's freaking me out. Look, hold on, go away, go away. Look, it's gonna like zoom in on me or something.
You just zoomed in.
No, it didn't. No, I zoomed in myself. Okay, look. Anyways,
Not doing anything.
it will. Okay, look, hold on. Okay, if I put my hand.
There we go.
See, there it is. Yeah. It's,
All
yeah.
right.
No, yeah, it doesn't like me. Whatever. Anyway,
All
that's been
right.
messing me up. Sorry, Troy.
No, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. All right. So that. Okay. All right. There we go. Nap time for everybody. I'm actually kind of sorry. I'm kind of sorry I turned off the recording for that little thing because I look up from my paper. I'm like, it's like, I'm like, oh, he's totally asleep.
Yeah.
Okay, I will let you guys go and
Here, hold on, wait, I got a question.
What's the question?
We watched Hook on the weekend.
Yeah.
I loved it.
You've never seen Hook?
I've never seen it.
Excellent. Okay.
So good. Who's your favorite character? That's it.
Unfortunately, I have to tell you that I am a.
Probably been a while.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no. I'm a huge fan of Hook. I really enjoy it.
Mhm.
I enjoy the Robin Williams of it all and all that sort of thing. Once he becomes
Yeah.
Peter and all that sort of thing, where he's allowed to do that, and the fact that he can play the other Peter so straight-laced and all that sort of thing. I think that Dustin Hoffman probably does my favorite live-action interpretation of
Captain Hook.
one of my favorite Disney villains. His
He did
Hook
a great
is
job.
so iconic and all that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that he like even shows his true self to Peter's son and all that sort of thing, like what he's actually like as what it is. So I'm gonna say Hook is probably my favorite character out of that and all that sort of thing. Why? What is yours?
Of course. What is it? Go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm a little torn,
Yeah,
but
we're out of time.
no, okay. Well, it's Mr. Toodles.
Toodles, yeah.
They called him Mr. Toodles.
I know, Mr. Toodles. Official.
I don't know him. Anyway, he's the best. I love him. But I also love that I don't know there's like the bigger kid. There's like
Rufio?
No.
Oh no.
No.
The one that does the rolling.
Yes.
Oh, the bigger kid.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Yes,
call him that. I don't know his name.
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
make up
his
anything,
name
I believe
escapes me
you.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and I was telling Ahmed when we were watching the movie that like if I could have any piece of like some sort of like movie set, I would want like whatever prop they made for him to roll down the stairs. I would love that thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that yeah.
I-
But Mr.
I
Toodles is
also-
probably my
Yeah, I also enjoy the really Spielberg-esque feel of the movie too, especially when you're in the Lost Boys camp and all that sort of thing.
Yeah,
It feels like an old school like
Yeah.
Spielberg movie and all that sort of thing. Which
and
is
like the
kinda
Three
nice.
Moons was cool.
Yeah.
They don't make them like they used
Yeah, no,
to.
I enjoy the movie. It's a good movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good
It's
choice.
a
And
great movie.
and the fact that you enjoyed it at an older like not like you're not the audience that it was made for. It was
No.
made for a
Yeah.
kids family film and all that sort of thing. But yeah, no, it's a very entertaining movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.